So, my first question.
Go ahead.
Would you consider yourself red pill?
Never in a million years.
Never.
Never in
Why?
a million years.
Why?
I think to me, first and foremost, I think I don't subscribe to any man-made ideology
Okay.
because I think a lot of these ideologies put you in a box.
Mhm.
So I do subscribe to religion, and people can argue whether that's man-made or not.
Mhm.
That's gonna be a great conversation, great debate. You get a guy like Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson had a great debate about
Mhm.
that. But in regards to man-made ideologies, I don't really subscribe to them as much, and I don't like to identify myself with something that somebody else has conjured up with their own personal opinion. And
Mhm.
so I think in regards to the red pill is a very interesting space, a lot of interesting characters there. And I think the biggest challenge to me is the phrase that they use is that we're all we're doing is trying to share the truth about fill in the blank, right?
Mhm.
And to
Mhm.
me, it's very, very arrogant as a human being to say I myself am the orator of the truth.
Mhm.
I know the truth. My studies are the accurate studies.
Mhm.
My ideas are the accurate ideas. I am the only individual who
Mhm.
knows these things. And so to me, that ideology seems very cult like,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
Mhm.
If you believe in them, they give you praise words like, oh, yo, you're red pilled, you're an alpha male, right?
Uh-huh.
And if you disagree with them, they give you the curse words, right? You are blue pilled, you are a beta male, right?
Are you talking about like the comments section?
I'm just talking about this the idea of the
Okay.
philosophy, right? So
Okay.
the people who subscribe to their worldview are red pill.
First thing, so let's hop in right here, and we're gonna continue this. But just one quick note. I think that's a little disingenuous. So he knows how it works, and because you recognize, like, okay, yep, I understand male nature, female nature. I understand that I need to be successful to bring value to the world. You understand that, and now you're an alpha. I don't think I've ever heard anyone in the space. I don't think Kevin Samuels or anybody, the Fresh and Fit, anybody that say they're in the red pill space is going around saying, "Oh, because you understand and agree with this, you're now an alpha." You know, come on, my king, you rocking, you rolling. Nobody does that. And I just wanted to point that out. So it's starting off in a bad way because he's been on the Fresh and Fit podcast. He's been around this space a long time, and he knows better. Let's keep going.
Individuals, right?
Uh-huh.
Their minds have been opened up to the truth, right? And
Mhm.
the people who disagree with their ideas are considered blue pill, right? You have
Mhm.
rejected the truth, i.e., the matrix, right? The
Uh-huh.
guy in the matrix. He said, I want to go back in the machine, even though I know
Uh-huh.
it. I want to go back in the machine. So to me, that seems very cult-like
Mhm.
in regards to the ideology. And so there's a lot of different reasons why I don't subscribe to it. But those are the few things. I just cannot hold myself to an ideology that a certain
Mhm.
individual or individuals are communicating
Mhm.
without understanding the fullness of those ideas.
Mhm. Yeah, because they would say it's a praxeology, not an ideology.
Yeah, it's very easy to use words like that, but
Uh-huh.
then you break down what does that mean?
Yeah. So my question to you is like, what specifically do you disagree with?
Great question. So when people say things like, okay, we're not an ideology, we're a praxeology,
Uh-huh.
right? You have to ask yourself, are you teaching any ideas?
Uh-huh.
Like, is there any principles that your belief system is teaching? Because every human being's belief system
Mhm. Mhm.
teaches an ideas, right?
Mhm.
And so for me, when I see that there are certain ideas and premises that are being taught,
Mhm.
therefore you cannot simply say we are not an ideology. There is no ideals that
Mhm.
represent the
Mhm.
things that we believe. And so an example of what are some of the things I disagree with, I think I primarily disagree with a lot of times the descriptions of marriage
Okay.
and just how they analyze and describe marriage in today's world. I think I disagree with the
Mhm.
analysis of male female nature. I think if you were to read a book like The Evolution of Desire by Dr. David Buss,
Mhm.
he's a world leading expert on human evolutionary psychology in regards to mating,
Mhm.
and he's fantastic. Buss School of Psychology is amazing,
Mhm.
and you actually read
One way to tell if he really didn't say what he disagreed with. I don't think. I mean, Pearl. She's new in the space and she's learning, and she'll say it later on that she's actually learning. She is not an expert in this field. She understands some basic things. She has a great camera, and they put out content consistently. So they got a big following. I mean, there's not a lot of people that you actually can go in and watch on a daily basis that put out as much content as that. So she has grown very quickly. But most of those things are new. They're basic. They're things that people, it's like entry level stuff. What I really want to touch on about what he's saying, besides the fact that he didn't answer it, he does come off to me as a pseudo intellectual. Okay, he whenever people the studies the foremost mind and this and that. When people listen to Dr. Jordan Peterson, they don't say, this is his degree, this is what he did. They say the things that he says make sense. Like this, for example, this gentleman quotes him. If you've never heard of him, just like read this book. It's great for absolutely no reason, and here is no point that I'm gonna make to help you understand that. Not very convincing. The other thing he said about ideologies, he said this is an ideology. Well, some people do have ideologies in the sense of the word that everyone understands it. Very few people have looked up the definition of the word. We know what most words mean. We know good, bad, night, day. We know most of these words. So after listening to him, I actually went in and I read the definition of the word, and what I found is that the definition has not caught up to date with the use of the word. We don't have a word to describe when we say ideology, what we actually want to convey. What we actually want to convey is this. So let's pull up. So let's go here. Let's just real quick. There we go. Nope. You know what? Let's just do ideology definition real quick. This is the definition of an ideology: a system of ideas. A system of ideas or ideals, especially one which forms the basis of economic or political theory and policy. And let me put that up there so you can actually see it. So this is the definition of ideology. Now, he goes on to say that if you have ideas, then you have an ideology. And he doesn't subscribe to any ideologies. If with that very broad description of ideologies, that he doesn't have any ideas, he has an idea that he should wake up and he should brush his teeth in the morning, so it's not bad. That's an idea that he has, and that's his belief, and it's a system of belief. So brushing his teeth would be part of his ideology. I also picked up on that the small detail that he's wearing clothes. So he thought it'd be great to follow man-made laws. He had an idea to put on clothes so that when he went out, he wasn't arrested and he could actually get on this platform. Well, that was an idea that he has. I better put on some clothes before I leave. So by his definition of the word actually means nothing. If you read the definition, and it does specifically say it forms the basis of economic or political theory. So he's going to read it. He leaves that out. Let me show you something else here. This. Okay, meaning, a systemic set of ideas, doctrines, with the word is interpreted, blah, blah, blah. This is what is really important. Ideology is usually taken to mean a prescriptive doctrine that is not supported by rational argument. That's it. This should actually be the definition of the word. This is how we actually use it. So the red pill is not an ideology. It can't be. There may be people who are absolutely wrong about the red pill. Okay, there may be people who are wrong about the red pill. They're wrong about information and they're presenting it incorrectly. Then that is, in fact, just incorrect. The concept of it, as everyone knows, comes from the Matrix. So you are accepting the truth. So if you're not accepting the truth and you're wrong, then that's not the red pill. You were wrong, right? He has an ideology, and you can tell because through this entire interview, not once will he make Oh, well, one time he made a valid point about her using a word that she didn't completely understand. But he is dancing around words. It's semantics. This is the truth. This is how people take this word. Is usually taken to mean a prescriptive document, that a doctrine that is not supported by rational argument. That's it. And throughout his entire argument, if you listen to him, what's going to happen is every time he gets pressed on something, what he's going to do is when his ideology has holes in it, he's going to switch up and go to religion every time as a default. And it starts to waver. Well, you know what? Let me give you my religion because I don't have to think, and you can't challenge me on my belief. It doesn't have to be logical. And that's basically what's going to happen throughout the entirety of this thing. Let's jump ahead a little bit. Let's jump into the nitty gritty of it. Because he actually says some pretty insane things. Okay. He says some pretty insane things. Let's see. Okay. Let's hear him talk about marriage. So let's hear him. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if he can do a little bit better for us. Maybe on marriage here. That was 19. All right. 19 minutes in.
Or is it for the purpose of perpetuating a narrative?
Wouldn't you say that the divorce rate's going down because people aren't getting married as much?
So think about it like this.
Mhm.
Let's talk about
Mhm.
divorce rate is by percentage. So let's do some
Mhm.
numbers because you
Mhm.
seem like a very analytical
Mhm.
girl, logical girl. Let's talk about some numbers.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
if the system of marriage is broken,
Mhm.
right,
Mhm.
and 1,000 people get married.
Oh, I see. The rate would still be. I see. I
Okay,
see.
so
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
do it for the people, right?
Uh-huh.
Remember,
Yeah, yeah.
the red pill argument is the system is broken.
Uh-huh.
So that means anyone who engages in this institution,
Uh-huh.
whether or not you do it, it's broken. It's not going to work. It's going to lead to a 50% divorce rate.
Mhm.
So if 1,000 people get married,
Mhm.
therefore it should be 50% divorce rate.
Mhm.
But then if 900 people
Mhm.
get divorced,
Mhm.
and 10 years later, instead of the 1,000
Mhm.
10 years ago,
Mhm.
now 900 people get married,
Mhm.
and that divorce rate is 40,
Mhm.
not 50 where it was before. The
Uh-huh.
question that must be asked is these 100 people, why
Mhm.
did that number change?
Mhm.
If the system was broken, and therefore whether it's 1,000,
Mhm.
900,
Mhm.
800, 1,200, 1,100, it should
Mhm.
be the same thing. But if the number went down, but
Mhm.
then the divorce rate decreased by percentage,
Mhm.
why did it go down?
Mhm.
Who was not getting married? And
Mhm.
how would it contribute to the increase of divorce rates in the past?
Mhm.
And that's why I said the numbers will tell you a story.
Mhm.
And if you don't know the full story, you
Mhm.
don't know how the number is relevant to the lives of everyday people.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm passionate about.
Mhm.
I want to keep on saying it.
Mhm.
A lot of the red pill arguments are true.
Mhm.
A lot of them are true, mixed
Mhm.
with a whole lot of lies.
Mhm.
And we have to be honest. There is an ideological bent, and there
Mhm.
is a for-profit bent for the ideologies.
Mhm.
But if we're simply gonna stop there and
Mhm.
not do a deep dive in analyzing the study, if
Mhm.
we don't sit down and analyze every single statistic number and
Mhm.
juxtapose it with the leading experts in the world who are also studying these
Mhm.
things, we don't have a full, complete message
Mhm.
to share to men and women
Mhm.
for the benefit of
Mhm.
society. Because to me, if we're genuinely saying
Mhm.
that the red pill message is the truth,
Mhm.
if it is indeed the truth or an attempt to convey the truth should only make society better. It
Mhm.
should only make men better. It should only make women
Mhm.
better. It should only create a better world for
Mhm.
us.
Okay. I don't know about you, but I thought that was absolutely insane. The truth should only make things better. The truth is that there are murderers in the world. The truth is that violence exists. The truth is that there are wars, and there are some valid reasons to fight them, some invalid reasons to fight them. Maybe you're on the defensive. Maybe you don't have anything to eat and they do. Those are truths of the world. The truth is that people die. How is from old age even? How is that making the world better? That the fact that people die, other than if they're particular people with certain mustaches. Other than that, how does that make the world better? Your heart's gonna get broken. You're gonna cry. How does that make the world better? That is what you would call an ideology. He just feels that. this sounds dangerously close to 95% of the women that exist. I mean, not that exist, but that go on to Fresh and Fit show, where they and this is literally the ideology behind my truth. That doesn't serve me, so it's not the truth. It doesn't make my world better, so it's not the truth. So I'd rather live in delusion. This man shares the same ideologies as the women who who so many people get into the red pill ideas behind. Okay. So that this is one of the top 3 things that were insane that he says. And so if you listen to him and you can explain that, maybe he didn't explain it better, but you listen to him, leave it in the comment section. Maybe you can help the rest of us catch up. But let's hear more of this.
And
Mhm.
so to me, when I see an ideology, when I see a praxicology, whatever the heck they're calling it
Mhm.
nowadays, when I see a worldview and I'm looking at it, I'm analyzing it, and I'm understanding it, and I'm seeing all people who are leaders in it,
Mhm.
and I'm seeing the inconsistencies in what
Mhm.
they say and what they
Mhm.
do. I'm saying that there's a deeper conversation with the numbers, and there's
Mhm.
a deeper conversation with this type of information that is not being discussed. And I'm glad we're doing it right now.
Mhm. To me, it's like if it goes from 50% to 40%, who cares?
Mm-mm.
That's right. Let
Don't
me
do
let
that.
me let me let
Don't
me
do that
let
though.
me let me let me
Go ahead.
because to me, people aren't getting together. They looked at the get it like getting married rate is lower than it's ever been. So it's like to me, it's just like men are getting a bad deal today. And they're signing a contract where women are paid to leave and take the kids. And to me that's just and especially in the UK, like I live in London, like girls like your child support's literally dependent on how much you have the kids, so you're literally paid to take the kids away.
Okay.
So, like, to me, it's just like a bad deal. And even if you sign a contract and it's a 40% versus 50%, that's still not great.
You first and foremost,
Uh-huh.
let's
Uh-huh.
not be deceptive, right? You
Okay.
cannot
I'm
if
not
you
I'm
if
not
you if
being
if you
deceptive.
understand statistics,
Uh-huh.
you cannot say a 10% decrease
Uh-huh.
in the likelihood of something happening
Uh-huh.
isn't a big deal. If there
Uh-huh.
was a drug or
Mhm.
if there was a disease
Mhm.
and we say, you know what, the disease has a
But
50%.
I but
No,
I
let me
think but
finish.
I
Let me
think
finish. You told me not to cut you off. I'm not gonna
okay,
cut you
okay,
off.
okay.
Because I understand what you're trying to do right now.
Uh-huh.
I was under the impression of this was to be a certain kind of conversation,
Uh-huh.
but I'm getting what you're doing right now. So if you want to make the conversation the way you want to make this conversation, it's no problem. So like I was saying,
The way I wanna make the
like I was
conversation?
saying,
Okay.
like I was saying, if there was a disease and the
Mhm.
disease had a 50% fatality rate,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden, 10 years later,
Mhm.
even if the amount of people with the disease
Mhm.
went down by 2%, 3%, 4%,
Mhm.
whatever numbers you want
Mhm.
to give, but then all of a sudden that disease has a 40% fatality rate. The
Mhm.
fatality rate went down 10%. What we ask ourselves is, yo, how did that happen? No one says, oh,
Mhm.
50%, 40%, no big deal. So everything's the same
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
No, you're
Mhm.
going to be like, wow,
Mhm.
it's still high than we would like it to be,
Mhm.
but it's a lot better than the way it was before.
If you had retirement, so you have retirement savings, and they say, hey, we got an investment deal for you, but you have to put up all of your assets. This is your retirement. If you lose it, you are screwed. But there's a 50% chance that you'll lose everything. No, there's a 50% chance you'll lose 50%. It's half and half. Would you put up your retirement for that? No, nobody would. That's stupid. That's reckless. And any financial advisor that recommended you that would probably lose his license. Let's go again. If you were going to go parachuting and they said, hey, there is a 50% chance your parachute won't open, but it's a great flight. Everything's awesome. And so have fun up there. Would you do it? Absolutely not. Nobody would. If they said, well, you know what? There's a shop down the street that you could go to. It's only 40%. Would you do it? No. No, you wouldn't. But there's a huge 10% decrease in the chances that you'd actually that you die, that the parachute won't open. 40% is still ridiculous. I'm not interested in that. Now, for the the actual person that it would be engaging in this activity, it doesn't matter. 40%, 50%, it's irrelevant. I'm not going to do it. If I have a choice, I'm not going to do it, right? If I understand these numbers, then I'm not going to do it. It does not make sense. No. That's what she's saying. And he comes in and conflates the argument. This is one thing you got to be careful of with people like this. They don't actually have an argument. So, you've heard about hyperinflation. Well, with ideologies, with the way people are today, they have hyper conflation. So whenever you're talking to people on Fresh and Fit, most people, the ethnists, they're hyper conflationary. They take two things that seem to be similar, or they try to force to be similar, and then switch back and forth during the argument. She's saying it doesn't matter to the men. It's a bad deal. Don't do it. Those numbers are too high. It's outlandish for the type of risk that men would have to put on the table. And he says that she's being disingenuous. Let's listen to a little bit more, although
So what can we learn from that?
Mhm.
What can we improve on that? How can we make that better? And so to me, going back to the ideology, my biggest thing is I'm all about how can we make the world a better place? And
I
simply
agree.
and simply saying that 50%, 40%, that there's no big difference is deceitful. I mean deceitful. It is not communicating what's really going on. And so I think it's really cool. And I kind of now a lot of things are making more sense. But if we're gonna have a real conversation about men and women in today's society and marriage in today's society, we have to get into specific details every single point of the conversation and understand the nuance to each issue. So if you want to get into men getting a bad deal in marriage, we can talk about that specific issue. But I think sometimes it's very easy to be able to stay in our echo chambers, in our silos, and share these ideas without having them fleshed out to somebody who can give us some pushback.
But I just think, like, you're missing the point. Like, the point is that the laws don't favor men today. Like, the point is it 50% or 40%? That's not the point. The point is that, like, right now, it's a contract that women are paid to leave. And so if that's the way the laws are set up, I understand why men are walking away. Like, I understand why they wouldn't push marriage.
So here's the deal.
oh God, I don't want to hear his deal. Okay, exactly. He is conflating two things: the experience of the actual people and how it really makes absolutely no difference. You should not do something with that bigger risk. You should not do something with that bigger risk if you can't afford it, if you haven't prepared for it. But he's going, well, from an intellectual point of view, studying this to understand, yeah, well, they have 40% over here. Theirs is 50. Let's see what they're doing, and maybe we can improve on that. Yeah, that's right. If you're a government institution and you want to improve the chances of marriage and you want to study why one state has a lower divorce rate than the other one, that's good from that perspective. That's cool. That makes sense. Maybe if a college, they're studying this, it's going to be a paper that they're going to write. That makes sense, but not the actual people in it. It makes absolutely no sense what he's saying. Absolutely absurd. And I did watch some of this before, and I'll be honest, I couldn't make it through all of it. If you can, great. If he said it, and by the way, the divorce rate in the United States is still about 50%. It is the sixth highest divorce rate in the world. Out of 195 countries, we're number 6. And you want to advise people to jump into that. I'm not against marriage. I think that it is the bedrock of a society, of a community, of a country. But it has to be done right. And since it's not being done right, and men are getting a bad deal, the question is, um, subsequent marriage. Yeah, subsequent marriages are even worse. 195 countries, and we're number 6. So should men in the United States get married as it is? No, absolutely not. But there are precautions that you can take, and you can get yourself ready to where you can minimize the risk to you, because even if there's a high risk of it happening, you can mitigate the damage from it. And that's what you should do. Prenup is a part of that. Picking the right partner and learning, not going to church, unfortunately, will not help you with the legal situation in the country. I haven't seen a pastor that was also a lawyer that was coming in telling you how to make sure that things go well for you from coming from the male point of view. Let's jump around. Yeah, because men are getting a bad deal. I mean, last thing on this point, would you sign a contract that you have to put up half of your life's work while the other party has no risk and can end the contract at any time? And if the contract is canceled at any time for any reason, you lose half of your stuff. Just give him, let's give him a business deal. He loses half the rights to his YouTube channel, half the revenue. Let's see if we can get him in a business deal like that. I guarantee you will not be able to, 100%. Let's see him be. I mean, and if you watch this whole thing, which if you can stomach it, then you're brave. Then you're probably an alpha. But this guy is disrespectful through the entire thing. He was being very passive aggressive. I'm gonna come out and say it. This gentleman was being very, very feminine. And I have a sneaking suspicion that the way that he is dealing with her is the way that his lady deals with him and runs him. That's all speculation. That I don't even know who his lady is, but I'm pretty sure that's the way it rocks and rolls over there. All right.
That's all I got.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
So you wanted to start with wife school.
let's start with wife school. Man, we've gotten so deep in the conversation. I'm really excited. I hope you
Yeah.
have a lot of time today, because I really want to dive into everything
Yeah.
that you want to go to.
Yeah.
Here is I'm being honest with you, Pearl.
Uh-huh.
Here is my only criticism of
Uh-huh.
female content creators such as yourself.
Okay.
If I'm being 100% honest with you, I don't want to ever say anything behind your back, which I won't say to your face. I feel like you guys are pandering. I feel like you guys are pandering to
Okay.
a certain community of men who freaking like it's Pornhub, OnlyFans, Red Pill female content creators are all that
Oh wow.
that gets them going.
Oh
That gets
wow.
them excited, right? So I
I'm on
personally
really on the same OnlyFans?
no, I didn't say
I'm on the
no,
same?
no.
Okay, I'm slightly
Pornhub,
below her.
slightly got you.
Oh wow. Thank God.
You can't compete with them. I'm sorry. You
Oh,
can't,
okay.
can't compete with them.
Okay.
And
So where was so the OnlyFans?
No, the Pornhub is number
that's
one.
a 10. Like
Yeah.
on like 1 to
Yes,
like
yes,
yeah.
yes,
And then where do the OnlyFans?
depending on what she's doing on OnlyFans, it can go from anywhere from 9.5 to 8.
Okay,
Depending
so
on what
let's
she's
do
doing.
8. So then where do we fall?
I would say the men love your content so much, it'd probably be about 7.
A 7?
Yeah,
Okay.
about a 7.
Okay. So you said pandering, so you think I don't actually believe any of this?
No.
Because that's what when I hear pandering, I look that up because people say that a lot.
Yeah.
And it basically means you just say things because you don't believe it and you just
Okay.
want the
So if I want to clarify, I said
uh-huh.
if I said, because memory's a bad
Yeah.
recollection at times.
Yeah.
If I said you are pandering,
Uh-huh.
I was wrong.
Okay.
I feel like at times content creators, I didn't say you,
Okay.
content creators
Okay.
like those
Yeah.
pander.
Well, there's only a couple in the space, in the red pill space that are women. I would say.
So it's not about red pill though.
Yeah.
It's not about red pill.
Okay.
So to me, let me give you an example.
Okay.
I genuinely
I'm lost. He said it's not about red pill, but he said he was talking about women in the space in red pill, and then he flips it. It's not about if you maybe you're not seeing what I'm seeing. This guy.
believe
Uh-huh.
that there is a lot of nuance to your ideas.
Uh-huh.
I genuinely do not believe you share all your nuance online.
Uh-huh.
I genuinely believe you're an extremely smart content creator.
Mhm.
I genuinely believe you
Mhm.
understand what gets clicks, views, X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
I genuinely believe that you're an individual who's
Mhm.
very calculating what you say and
Uh-huh.
what you do. So
I was
therefore,
I was coached by you.
listen, that's why it breaks my heart. It breaks my
It breaks
heart.
your
It
heart.
really does. I'm not gonna lie
Uh-huh.
to you.
Why?
Because first we
Yeah.
had an A session. You weren't coached by me.
I know, I know.
We had A
I'm
session.
just
I can't put my stamp on that.
Huppies,
I,
I'm kidding.
I
I'm
can't put my
kidding.
stamp
I'm
on
kidding.
that. We having fun. We just having fun, all right? So
Uh-huh.
my belief is that deep down inside, I feel like you're a woman.
Uh-huh.
How in the world do you believe everything a man believes? You should have nuanced positions. That's the
Uh-huh.
beauty of the masculine feminine, where
Uh-huh.
there's similarities and there's differences. So when
Uh-huh.
I hear a logical woman, I definitely expect to hear her to communicate things that the logical male and female understands. But
Mhm.
I also expect, because she's a feminine individual, and
Uh-huh.
you believe men and women are different.
Mhm.
So therefore, if men and women are different and
Mhm.
both of them are communicating their ideas, there's going to be differences
Uh-huh.
and nuances to their ideas. And
Mhm.
so, therefore, whenever I see, not
Mhm.
saying you, 'cause remember
Uh-huh.
I told you this, I don't watch a lot of your
Uh-huh.
content, so I don't
Uh-huh.
know it.
Uh-huh.
But whenever I see those pro male, female
Mhm.
content creators,
Mhm.
and I see like they always have the same male talking points, and there's no uniquely feminine talking points
Mhm.
that men won't agree with, but she stands in that because she
Mhm.
is a woman and her ideas are different.
Mhm.
Sometimes I wonder, is this person fully communicating how they
Mhm.
feel?
And he's not going to give an example of. He's not going to give an example because he doesn't have one. Um, this is disappointing. It's people, like, I was at work one day, and people must have thought I was a weirdo because I was at work. We're standing there, we're having a huddle, and there was about 12, 15 of us, and they were going around say things that you don't like, and everybody was going around saying something, and they came around to me. And the only thing I could think of was dishonest conversation, bad faith conversations, and they just stopped and looked at me like, "What the hell?" This is a perfect example of a bad faith. He just said that he couldn't rubber stamp that she was coached because he doesn't like what she's saying. I think you are pandering. And then he backtracks. He goes all over. Very feminine. This gentleman is very feminine. And why don't you go to the Middle East and ask the vast majority of women are, why don't you go to Iran and ask women? Men and women used to have very similar opinions. That's how they actually worked it out. It's very recently that men and women started having these differences of opinion because reality is reality is reality. Then you just have some people who are right and some people who are wrong. That's what the red pill is about. It's just about accepting the truth. Female nature. Ladies like guys who are tall. Ladies like men who can lead. They like men that are decisive. They want to feel safe in your presence. They do not want to wonder if you will be able to protect, provide, lead. It's not an option. They don't want to feel that. They don't have a choice. Women can stay after the attraction leaves. Most of them do not because there's no contract that binds them there. These are things, this is just the way the world works. So to say that every woman does not reject the world, does not reject reality, and that's what I'm taking this as him saying, because she has very logical positions, she should be an irrational, overly emotional person. Because no woman has the ability to sit there and goes, this makes sense, this makes sense, this makes sense. And then he keeps talking about nuance. When I'm talking to someone that's more feminine, they like to talk about nuance. They like not to have to take a definitive position because if you take a definitive position, you're going to have to stand there. You're gonna have to stand there. You know what? Let's jump into it. This is the next one is the last one, and let's go there because this guy. Okay, found it. So we are about to jump in and we are going to hear something that we hear a lot. It's the same old talking point. He says it a little bit differently than your average modern lady, but it's the same effing nonsense that you hear on a daily basis. But the difference is how it's handled. This is what I'm going to explain after this clip is something that every man and every woman needs to understand, especially the men. If you don't understand the principle that I'm going to go out after he speaks this time, if you don't get it, then you're going to have problems. If you want to increase the chances of succeeding, if you want to know why you failed before, this is it. And I'm going to break it down after this. Let's jump back in and listen to him.
That's the beginning. You need to have a whole agreement where you talk about all these nuanced conversations and topics to be able to benefit your marriage in the long run.
Do you think that men do you think that men or women are more to blame for the high divorce rate? Or do you think
Both,
it's equal?
primarily men, because and here's why.
Okay.
Who is the leader in society?
Men. Well, actually, no, now that it's like women make 70 to 80% of consumer buying decisions.
Who's the
You
leader?
hear
I'm curious. To your people, camera, put
Yeah,
it on her
yeah,
camera.
yeah.
Tell the people who's the leader in society.
No, you're right. Men lead.
So
Men lead.
she
But
believes,
women have a lot of power in society today. Yeah, yeah.
you simply
Yeah.
do. Who leads, men or women?
Men. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
If men are the leaders and your team loses, you play volleyball, you play Division I sports, you know this thing.
I
If
played D1. Oh, stop it.
I
I wish.
if you
Yeah.
are the leader of your team,
Uh-huh.
the team loses,
Mhm.
what should the leader do? Whose fault is it then? When the quarterback loses the game,
Mhm.
his receiver drops the touchdown. What
Mhm.
does the quarterback say when the interviewer asks him, why did we lose the game? He
Mhm.
takes accountability.
He says it's
Even
me.
if there was something that other people did to contribute to the loss, the
Mhm.
quarterback never throws his team under the bus, which
Mhm.
is why Ron Rivera,
Mhm.
the Redskins head coach,
Mhm.
everybody got mad at him because he blamed Carson Wentz for losing. Is
Mhm.
Carson Wentz playing good?
Yeah.
Heck no, he's playing like Garbaggio.
Mhm.
But the coach cannot go before the audience and
Mhm.
say, "Oh, the reason we're losing because of him."
Mhm.
You're the leader. Put that on your back.
Mhm.
Are there things that women have done and feminism has done to contribute to the breakdown of society? 100,000%. But men, I thought we were the leaders. I thought we were in charge. How did we let this day happen? How do we let it get to this place? So me personally, I understand that if you're going to be the leader, you get the final say and you get the responsibility when the team loses.
I actually kind of agree with that.
Hey, we agree.
I kind of agree with that. Yeah, because I think
Okay. First thing, the average man is not the leader of the average woman. The average woman makes her own decisions, and men do not have the ability to force women to do anything against their will. That would be kidnapping, the R word, indentured servitude. I don't know what world that he lives in where men get to decide what women do without their input. Maybe he lives somewhere in some country in the Middle East. That's not how it works in our world, in the real world. So, how many times have you heard, feminists, just say it, or modern women say, "Oh, I thought you were the leader. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to do that." The man is literally like a 21-year-old girl from the Fresh and Fit podcast. They should put him on. He might be trans. This dude is tripping. He's out of his mind. Okay. The average man does not dictate what the average lady does. She does not have a man, an individual man that she follows. But I do agree with him. Men do run the world. Men run the government, right? The large corporations. She follows the men that own the company that she works at. She follows the men who run the government. She does not follow the men that are her romantic interest. His logic is that if 3 states over, or somewhere down, say in Mississippi, there's a baby mama who loses, files child support, destroys the kid's life. That was your fault because you're the leader of society. Men rule. Men rule. And this is the same one but let's keep it focused. Men rule. So the average man, that woman takes an L. That's your fault. That was on you. That's absurd. That's insanity. Just like if an employee does something bad, let's say random woman, she's an employee, and she steals something, She works at Target. Is Walmart responsible for her actions? No, because she doesn't work for Walmart. She works for Target. So if a woman does not follow you, if she has not submitted to you, if she does not follow your leadership, then in fact, you are not her leader and not responsible for anything that she does. Nothing. Nothing at all. If a woman has not submitted to your leadership, you see, he gave the example of the football teams. Well, those people signed a contract and decided to follow that team, and they work for that team. That's what they do. The women that he's talking about have not agreed to follow any man, or we don't have red pill discussions on the women in the Muslim community in the Middle East for the most. We don't do that. We talk about the West a lot. The women have not taken the jobs to follow the leaders in the first place. So the women without leaders are complaining about the leadership. Cool. That's ridiculous. Second thing, in order to be a leader for a woman, she has to give up her power. What does that mean? What do I mean when I say that? This is what you need to understand. This is a military term, a political term. It is escalatory dominance. That's what women have. You have to understand that women have escalatory dominance over men. What does that mean? That means while you're escalating, she can take it to a higher level than you can. Let's say if you work at if you're a manager at a job, who can escalate higher? That is the person who is the leader. You understand? They are the one that are in the position of power. You cannot lead from a position of weakness. So you work at a job. You have the ability to fire your boss. They don't have the ability to fire you. Who's going to be in charge? If your boss does not have the ability to fire you, but you can fire him, who would listen to their boss? Who would do anything that their boss said if the boss could not fire them? Who? Your boss can't fire you. You're at the job. You do whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter if you do your job, if you don't do your job, if you go work at another company while you're on the clock with your current company, it doesn't matter. Your manager can get angry and scream at you, but if he upsets you too much, you'll fire him. What kind of leadership can that manager provide to you? See, women have escalatory dominance in the West. So what happens is this. So let's say you get upset with each other. You can say, hey, you know what? I don't like you right now. I'm going to go sit over here. I'm going to go to my friend's house. I'm going to get away from you for a bit. She can do the same thing. You can have an argument. But that's that right there. That's where it stops. Nope. Actually, the next step is you can break up. So then you two can break up. You can I'm done with you. She can say she's done with you. You can split up. Okay, that's the extent of what you can do as a man. You see, but she has different layers. In between just taking time apart and pushing you away, she can hit you. Women hit all the time. Most men that I've known have been hit by a woman. So women can exercise violence against men. Men cannot do that against women. See, a woman can attack you, and then if you defend yourself, you can still go to jail. Women have escalatory dominance in the sphere of violence. Let's go. So let's go above violence. So let's go. You can break up with her. She can break up with you. Cool. But she can escalate further than that. If it's a marriage, and if you make more money, which by a woman's nature is going to be the case the vast majority of the time, then she can take your resources. You can't take her resources. So she can escalate things and cost you more damage than you can her. Let's say if you have children, the next thing is, not only can she take finances from you, well, more finances from you, she can also take your children away. You can blackmail a king and conquer a nation by taking and holding at ransom the children. Women have the ability to escalate far beyond men. Men do not have the ability to lead as they once did. Men are powerless. Only a woman who agrees to give up that power, or men who have the ability to protect themselves and the knowledge on how to do that before they get into a relationship with someone and build up that protection. And then after building up that protection, even going in with the children as well, then after that protection, then you also have to have a decent amount of resources to where she will suffer financial consequences, i.e., a reduction in the standard of living if you leave. Okay? You have to have escalatory dominance in your relationship in order to be a leader. A woman cannot respect the man that is not her leader. This is why the average guy has such a hard time. It's the system is set up for you to lose. You have to have escalatory dominance. This is what nobody else tells you. You need to be able to escalate the situation higher than she can. It stops. If you don't have that power, then you have nothing. Why do we need to have power in relationships? Yada, 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 yada. This is the way the world works. Women are only attracted to men that have power. In general, the vast majority, the overwhelming numbers of women, and women vote every single day. How do they vote? Well, look at the men that they pick. And that'll tell you everything. So this is a false argument, what they would call a straw man. Yes, men are supposed to be the leaders by nature, but we don't live in nature. We live in an artificial environment that we call cities, towns. That we have stone mountains, we have running water. We do not live in nature, and we are apart from it. Since we are apart from it and we do not live in it, things don't work as they should. So men who do not have escalatory dominance, as they have all the way up into the 1950s, can no longer be the leader unless a woman gives up that power, or if a man accumulates enough to where he has escalatory dominance above and beyond what an average man has. That's why only the top 20% of men can have decent relationships, because those are the only men that are able to establish that. That is what you need to understand. If you are not in a position to have escalatory dominance with a woman, then you will, in fact, lose that woman. Okay. So let's do one last thing, one last quick thing from him, because it's been great so far. And I thought all of you guys would love this. Okay. Because he had to give us the complete package. He wasn't going to leave us without it. So
At
it's about
times
60
cling
seconds left.
closer
So
to that guy, because if every other girl in the room wants him, you definitely don't want those other girls to beat you.
Yeah, they call it, I forgot what the term is, but it's like when girls prefer the guys that, like, the girls want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's an example of
Do
why
you
it creates
do
drama.
you not understand though, because back to something we were talking about earlier, like, you don't think men get a bad deal today when it comes to marriage?
100% men get bad deals when it comes to marriage, but who is signing those deals? You see, I'm a solution-oriented person.
Yeah.
I
No,
see,
I know, I just wanna
of
focus,
course,
so you do agree with me then? Okay,
do men get bad deals?
okay.
But here's the reality.
Yeah.
Do all men get bad deals? Let's explain.
Mhm.
So one of the conversations that people
not
have is
all.
about the prenup.
Not
Yeah.
all.
You're in UK.
Not all. Did he hit? I mean, this thing is like, they were there for 2 hours and 24 minutes. We didn't listen to that much of this. I think that he might have dropped every feminist talking point out there. Not all. You're the leader, aren't you? This is that was next level. Okay. If I was not able to watch the whole thing, I will not watch it. It's like nails on the chalkboard. If you watch the whole thing and I missed anything, drop it in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, hit the bell icon, and I'll be back on next week. Hopefully not for another one of these videos, because this one was pretty bad. This one was pretty bad.